Yeah, listen. Let me take your take in two parts. The first part, I think this is very hard for people to get used to. I had a buddy, kind of a MMA buddy online, Ian Lawler, I think his name is, bring this up, and he was talking about how like, well, if you did the work, this is what you'd look like. But the reality is, there are simply body types that just, no matter how many push ups or sit ups you do, they're going to look a certain way. And so, flabby fat guys, and you're talking to a flabby fat guy, as a fat kid, I know that. If you're fat when you're younger, like you're going to keep that body type with you, unless you get lipo or whatever to take it off. I remember Francesco Damiani, who's behind me. I probably could have come up with a more well thought of opponent, or guy for this example, but Damiani stuck in my mind because I remember it because he was challenging, or should have challenged, Evander Holyfield in his first title defense in Atlanta. And Damiani had tits. And of course, I had tits as a young fat man. And that was amazing to me, looking at this guy with tits about to challenge for the heavyweight title. Now, he had to back out, and Bert Cooper stepped in, who's one of my favorite fighters, and almost knocked Evander Holyfield out. But the point is that body type doesn't necessarily, in any sense, mean physical conditioning. Now, listen, you can, of course, get out of physical condition and become fat, and that is a reality, right? But you can also be a guy who runs and trains, and then you take your shirt off and you just don't look good, and you have this, these pockets in your body and whatnot. Being body beautiful doesn't necessarily make you in shape either. There's any number of guys. I think Kevin Lee was one, right? There's any number of body beautiful guys. You look at him, you think, oh God, he looks so good, and this is perfect. And the reality is that they don't have the talent, or they don't have the experience, or they don't have even, they're sometimes not in cardio shape, but they look like they are, and it's an illusion. So I think we need to be really careful about judging people simply by appearances. And now, people who are ripped, I think Ian Lawler, if I remember, my buddy is ripped, right? Like, so it's really easy for him to look at it from that perspective. Me being a fat guy, I look at a guy like Francisco Damiani with tits, and he's going 12 rounds with heavyweights, and think, well, the guy's got to be in shape. Why does he still have tits? And that was confusing to me. And the reality is simply this, right? Body types are different. I remember Franz Botha, when he got busted for steroids, said, do I look like I'm on steroids? Because he was kind of a chubby fighter, right? Like, but the reality is, guys, your body's going to be what your body is, and steroids will change your body within what your body is. Like, I happen to get extremely fat when I take testosterone, right? Like, other people, it doesn't affect that way. Otherwise, it wouldn't make the weight class. But yeah, there it is, man. Oh, the other thing that you brought up that I think is really spot on is the heavyweight division on PEDs. And you're right, that was the era of MMA, but I think you're being unfair saying just the heavyweight division. Listen, all the guys were. I've talked about my experiences with Gilbert Melendez and Jake Shields and all that. All those guys back then were juiced. I think Anderson Silva testing positive for Nick shows you that he was on it too, and it was just that era of MMA, listener. But yeah, there it is. Everybody like and follow for more on the fight.